More rain. It's been another wet day here in Texas. Of course, it depends where you are. We're kind of close to Dallas here, so we've picked up a little bit of this cloud, and you can see there's a couple layers there. There's some straticue beneath a higher level of maybe stratocumulus or altocumulus up there. The sun kind of a watery shine, the sun coming through there. The storms we've had today have been kind of tropical. We sometimes see this pattern in August where we have kind of like a tropical disturbance hanging around Texas, that kind of thing. This here is more associated with storms back behind an old front, which have continued to regenerate over a few days. And this is the SPC mesoscale analysis. So what does the frontal pattern look like? Well, you probably remember this from yesterday, but it's I'm not too sure where to place that because most of this is under a broad southeasterly flow. So what we're actually looking for is maybe an outflow boundary. And that's probably going to run something like that, maybe a little bit further on the backside. What we can do is we can take a look at a closer view here. This is from UCAR. And if we analyze this, you can see we have northeasterly flow here at Houston, Hobby, and Galveston. So we're going to put that boundary down along the coast like that. And then you can see we go north of Port Lavaca, or I'm not too sure what that station is. Look at that northeasterly flow just south of San Antonio. That's quite a difference from just south of there at Cotulla, where we have east-southeast flow. So we're going to know we're going to bring this through here. And you can see Del Rio here, they've got weak northwest winds and cooler temperatures, which differs quite a bit from what we have down here near Eagle Pass. And look, 74 degrees there. You can see with the cooler readings here, this is probably all outflow. So we might even bring the outflow out into Mexico. Then once we get on the backside, things becoming a little bit harder. I might just kind of go for a very weak boundary through here. You can see there's a bit of a wind difference here. And another helpful thing you can do, especially during the summer when you have weak patterns, is you can do streamline analysis. So these are lines that go parallel to the wind flow. So you would kind of construct them like this. And it looks like we're going to get kind of a chaotic pattern. But as you go through, you're eventually going to come up with a map that kind of looks like this. And that's another way you can find boundaries, and it's also very good for finding areas of difluence and confluence. So let me see how much of this I can do in 1 minute. So we're going to sketch this in here. And this kind of shows us that there is a meso high here over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I'll do a little bit more. And this kind of shows a little low pressure area out around the Big Bend area along the Rio Grande. And I think that's about all I can do right there, but eventually if you start connecting all these lines together, that's a good way of finding boundaries that you might have missed, for example. Now instead of starting with the close-up picture, it's helpful to start with kind of a top-down approach. So here we've got the 250 millibar chart for the US. Make sure it's on the current one. And I'm looking down at the bottom or top for a legend, and I'm not seeing one. This is on the College DuPage site here. That's very strange. I figured that they would have these charts labeled properly, but let me just go ahead and make sure we're on the right one. And then I can use that to find where the jet stream is. So we have one axis right through here. And you can see that there's a lot of troughing over the north central U.S. into the Great Basin area. So you might highlight that, for example. Here we have a shortwave ridge across Minnesota. And then downstream, maybe a shortwave trough here. And it looks like we've also got a low pressure center in Florida. They put the low right here, but if I look at the actual wind plots, I can see that that's probably a little bit further to the north, so I would end up drawing it right there. And then here's the subtropical high just off the Texas coast. And what does this tell us? Well, this probably suggests that there's cold air advection out of Canada, so we're going to look for that. That's helping to lower the heights here. There may even be some of that cool air mass in Utah and Nevada. So let's take a look at that real quick. I'm going to move the surface sector up to that area. And we can see that they're under west-northwesterly flow. It is a warm west-northwesterly flow, 97, 95. And it's also onshore here. Look at that, 101 in Salem. So there's probably a little bit of downslope warming along the coastal range right here. Now if we move a little bit further to the east, we're probably going to find exactly where that front is. So I'll go to Pierre here. And there we go. We've got northerly flow across Montana and the Dakotas. So that would put our front right about here. So cold front coming into the Central Plains. That's the story for today. Then I'm going to pull up the Albuquerque sector. We'll see just how far south it comes. Looks like it's blowing through Albuquerque there. Santa Fe. Got west to northwest winds and unseasonably cool temperatures. There's north winds there, truth or consequences. And we can see it on the Mogollon Rim right here. We've got east-northeast winds at Show Low. So there we go. We've got this polar air mass moving through the Rockies, and that's kind of what it's going to look like this time of year. So what are we going to have in store as far as that goes? I've got the GFS model right here. Let me reposition that. There we go. So there's our trough aloft. And as we go into tomorrow, we can see that we've got a new jet stream axis on the back side here, which helps carve out this trough and deepens it a little bit across the Rockies. So another wave coming through here. And we'll probably see a chance of some showers out through there. Then we start building a ridge. We still maintain this strong flow across Texas, so we're going to continue the chances of rain over the next week or so, certainly. And then look at that. We've got a trough coming in towards Texas right there. So this is going to be a good setup for showers and thunderstorms around Thursday next week. And then we end up with a long way, cutoff low, looks like off the California coast right there. And then we're getting pretty far out. But anyway, it looks like, yeah, towards the end of the month, we start building in maybe a bit of an upper ridge. So it looks like we're going to be out of this pattern later next week. Let's see, just after we finish up with this northerly flow. So that's going to be around Wednesday the 31st. That's very far out there. So anyway, we got some stuff to look at. And before I close, I did have GR level 2 up. I was looking at some showers and storms across Texas. Let's see what those look like. There we go. Very disorganized area of showers, mostly elevated. We have to go up to the higher tilts to find it, and even then they kind of fizzle out. So there we go, just west of Waco. Not much to look at, really. So these are going to be topping out at about around 25,000 feet, so not much going on there. So we'll probably stay kind of in this pattern over the next week, and we'll see what happens tomorrow, and I hope to see you then. Let's see here. For some reason, I'm showing that there's hardly anybody watching right now. I had to start an hour early unexpectedly. So I think I caught some of y'all unaware, but I should be back on at the usual time tomorrow and hope to see you there. Thanks, I appreciate it, and we'll see you then.